Hi everyone, welcome to the ninth session for SS Agile Gurus. Today we have Dipesh, who is going to share his perspectives or experience and knowledge about the user stories. Let's go through the session, and towards the end, as Dipesh mentioned, we'll have some Q&A. And again, user stories is itself is like a huge vast topic. We might not be able to cover everything in today's session itself, but whatever it is, definitely we'll cover. And let's continue the discussion in the open forums as well. Over to you, Dipesh.
Thank you, Satish. Thank you so much. I will make a commitment to you guys, right? For the next 45 minutes that you will be involved in this session, I would make a commitment that this is going to be worth your 45 minutes, right? A lot of us are missing their prime time, right? And KBCs and Tarak Mehtas and whatnot, and then coming to this user story session. So is it going to be worth? So yes, it is going to be worth. At least I would like it to say it that way. Let's work with, just give 30 seconds on this working agreement on this session. I would request whoever the participants to actually participate, right, and make it interactive. Please both be on mute if you're not talking, and please be on camera, irrespective of you're talking or not talking, right? That helps to build that connect, and that helps to know that, okay, Satish is not so old and Dipesh is not so young, right? So thank you for joining this session, right? We'll start meaningful and powerful user stories, right? We want to.
Dipesh, there is a question, not a
Yes.
question, a
Yeah.
suggestion.
Mhm.
Yes, I guess you are going there. Yeah, your
Yeah.
introduction part.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. And I'm not very good at that, but and I could not get Satish's detail. I'm sorry for that. Apologies, Satish. But
No
Sartha,
worries, no worries.
he's there, and I think he's the most active, right? Sartha is the most active guy. Is on the WhatsApp group. I don't know whether he's joined, but I don't know whether I can scan
He's
all those.
traveling. He's
True.
traveling.
Okay, great. But yeah, and then instead of that, maybe Satish, you can start first about yourself, and then in 30 seconds maybe.
Sure. So, hi everyone. I'm Satish Kolla. So, along with Sharath, we both started this as Agile Gurus. Our main motto is to help others. These agile
Wow.
concepts, open sessions, and everything.
Wow.
That's the only intention, to help each other,
Yes.
and especially on this Thanksgiving Day. Yes, thank each everyone to make
Wow.
sure we are helping each other and grow in our career aspects. And I have total 16 plus years of experience, and right now I'm working as an agile coach. I'm based out of Hyderabad.
Great.
Of course, we are globally available on WhatsApp, Telegram.
True.
Yes, that's about me.
Great.
Over to you, Dipesh.
I am Dipesh Karania. I have been. I got introduced or got bitten by Agile bug in 2018. Since then, I have been all Agile throughout. I went to my CIO. He allowed me to set up the entire Agile process. And currently, I'm working with Larsen and Toubro Infotech, which is now LTI Mindtree, is just recently in news. I am a part of this Agile coaching community, a very small community where we kind of, and also taking care of Scrum Master roles for a few of the teams at LTI. That's it. I think you'll come to know about that's what I'll say. Just a small thing, right? Before we start, there's this grounding exercise that I learned in yesterday's session, right? And I would want everyone, wherever they are, just close your eyes, right? Close your eyes and consciously breathe in, right? Just consciously fill your lungs and gently exhale once your lungs are filled. Just do this activity 3 times, right? We'll do this activity 3 times, closing your eyes. Good. Maybe once you are ready, you can come back on the screen. And I keep looking here because this is where I can see Satish and all the rest of the guys on video. So there's a small Mentimeter question that I have for you all. If you all are on mobile phone, just scan the QR code, or if you all just click on menti.com and it will ask for a poll code and enter this code 5379 1570. Anybody who doesn't know how to use Mentimeter, please go on unmute and just raise your hands or just seek someone's assistance. Madhu, Madhu,
Madhu.
Madhu, go on a browser and type menti.com. If you are on mobile phone or your phone is handy, just scan the QR code. That's it. Right? It'll straight away take you to the Menti. And we'll put this on presentation mode to see.
Yeah, while we're getting the result, Sir Satish sir, we also thank you for collaboration effort, in organizing the WhatsApp group. Yeah, it's not an easy deal, if you ask me. Yeah, so thank you so much for you too.
True. It needs a lot of patience as well, right? And this community or our role is such that we only learn from somebody else's experience, right? There's no reference that we could go by books. The more you talk with your fellow colleague, the more effective your solutions would be. Great. I think we can continue this for another 15 seconds to see. There are 64 participants and we have about 21 on menti.com. Yeah, I think this is what we see with our teams also, right? Okay, I believe a lot of us are Scrum Masters, aspiring Scrum Masters, aspiring Agile coaches. So I think we should get good numbers. It's a very easy question, just so that we could set the context, the future slides, focusing on which slide we need to focus more, right? That is why this question, right? Okay. I think there are quite a few people who've not worked with user stories. That is useful information. Great. Good. Thank you. Thank you, guys. There are a lot of people who are not aware. This is going to be good session. Thank you. We can stop and we can go back to our my report. Okay, I'm just struggling with these. Okay, this is better. 21 says yes, 15 says they are learning, right? Soon you'll say no, we'll do this activity and we'll be. So this is the plan for today, right? This is what we'll do. We will talk about what is a user story, why we need a user story, right? There is something called as 3 C's of user story. We'll invest in a good user story. We'll also try our hands on actually practicing user stories, right? So with this, I think we'll need to have more time on actually practicing, right? With that, many of us saying no as we don't know what user stories are, right? Essentially, user story is a tool. It's a small piece of card or paper. I'll come to there, but it's just, let's just say it's a tool to capture the conversation that is between the product owner and the development team, right? Who's going to actually deliver, right? This is a very powerful tool to remove a lot of ambiguity and get everyone at the same page. We have often seen that after the end of sprint or towards the end of sprint or mid sprint, no, I did not ask you for this. By the way, I thought this, I meant this, right? How do I come to a conclusion where, I don't want to get into too much of documenting, neither I want to fall the other side where I don't document everything at all, right? So to address this problem, we have something called as user story, right? Where we will collaborate between the product owner. PO is product owner. Dev team means development team who's actually going to code, right? Dev team also includes testers, right? So the testers as well. This is what we would keep on using these terminologies. In case if you don't understand any terminologies, don't wait for the last, just speak in between because I can't see really, just unmute and ask, right? This is something that we use so that we build a common ground of understanding, right? I as a PO will expect something, and you as a development team will commit that yes, this is what we are going to deliver, right? There is a balance between what is expected from development team as well. Not only that PO says, and I'll do it. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I will also listen to the development team saying this is too big. This is too unreasonable, right? And then we will kind of negotiate and have a better communication, right? What to code and why to code, right? The developer is understanding why she's coding and what is it that she's building this functionality on. Very powerful thing. Again, developers can be very creative. Personal experiences, when the POs start talking and the PO says that, by the way, I want to do this drop down button, and sometimes I put a radio button, and she's giving you all this. The development team, and I've experienced this, somebody, a young chap from the development team will come and say that, by the way, there is a lazy loading option. By the way, there is an option where, you really don't want to do this drop down thing. There is a better way to do it. And it turns out to be very powerful conversation, right? And it's a win-win for everyone. They want to try something new. The PO wants something new. The UX guys are happy as well, right? So this is what we want to capture, right? The communication where we are really wanting to deliver, keeping the product in center, right? Uh, this needs to be done by everyone. Don't say that this is a BA's role, a PO's role. No, user stories can be written by everyone who's on the team, right? Keep on refining them together as a team. Keep on writing them as a team. There are a lot of anti patterns that we don't want to go and touch, but something that I really want to highlight: don't let user stories be written by one or two roles. Don't do that. If she's writing it, that means she's getting the clarity, she's thinking from her end. Where is it that I am allowing somebody else to come and give her input, right? We don't want to lose out on that, right? Let us refine it together. Let us write it together, right? There is, this is, this is, this is what user stories in very brief, right? If I have to tell you, there's this guy called John. Is he still there, right? Ron Jeffrey is still around, right? And when he started as a software guy, this is what he used to do. And I have worked with these cards in my earlier tenure, and we used to have this big whiteboards and those threads, right? When we used to pull and resemble the dependencies and all. But coming back to these cards, right? These are physical cards which are 5 by 7 centimeters. Mota moti, yeah, approximately 5 by 7 centimeters. And there are, so the front side of the card is where we capture the communication, where we capture the description or the business value, right? What is it that the PO is expecting? What is it that the PO is expecting is written on the front side of the card. The back side of the card, and why is it 5 by 7? So that we are able to write only that much. You don't write your hand, you don't change your writing to too small or too big, or it is so that this is one story, you split into another story, right? You reverse the card. The back flip side of the card is where you write the acceptance criteria or the confirmation, right? See, the first is the card itself. The front side of the card is the conversation which is captured. The other side of the card is the confirmation, right? How is it, or when is it that you would say that this story is delivered, or the PO is going to accept the story to done state, right? Every company has its different workflows. Sometimes the stories are not closed. Sometimes the stories are closed only by POs or the QA guys. Or when is it is going to close, right? Everything is written here, right? In between this. Why we don't, again coming back to this, we don't want to do too much of documentation. Neither we want to fall out the other side. We want to capture the crux of conversation. This is one example that I've pulled up from Scale Agile site, right? And I've given them their credit. So we are on record. So Scale Agile guys, there is a credit given to you. This example says, right? So somebody can read this, and maybe we can somebody read this, or is this, do you want me to zoom this, or?
I can read it.
I can read it.
Yeah, anyone can. Please go ahead.
As a spouse, I want a clean garage so that I can park my car and not trip on my way to the door.
Okay. So just thinking of what I think that was Mohammed. Did you speak? Yeah.
Yes,
What
yes.
Mohammed said, you get a feel that there's a house, there's a garage next to it. The garage seems to be really busy with a lot of other stuff. And this guy is really not, the user is really, the wife or the husband is really not able to park his or her car because there are a lot of other things around, right? So yeah, the conversation is happening now, right? This is the need. Somebody can read the conversation.
The
I can
details.
read.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, good.
Okay. What about the bikes? Oh yeah, hang the bikes.
Yeah. So the conversation is between the two people. Someone is going to clean the garage and also meet the requirements, right? So they will write on the flip side. Does this give you an example like, okay, or does this give you, are you able to visualize the garage is full of lot of tools around? There are some tires somewhere and there are bicycles also lying probably. And that is why we are not able to park the car, right? For which the garage is built. So the acceptance criteria, can somebody else read the acceptance criteria or the confirmation, right? Sorry, the confirmation.
I can go again
Yeah,
if
good,
no
good.
one is.
Good, yeah, yeah.
Tools have been put away. Items on the floor have been returned to the proper shelf. Bikes have been hung.
So that enough place is made so that I can park my car easily, right? So is this clear? Are we doing good, guys? Everyone, are we doing good? Can we proceed?
Yes,
Yeah.
Dipesh.
We get
Sure.
the crux of this, right?
Yeah, yes, Dipesh.
Great.
Yeah, so
Great.
just to add on, like this is the cards we used
Oh
to
yes,
use.
super.
I'm
Just
using it for my personal thing now.
yeah, nice.
The
Yes. So
small,
there's one
simple
Can
side and
you
there's
cards.
give
another
an
side.
example,
Right.
please?
Yes.
You're right. Right. Thank you, Satish, for that one. Right. And then we started keeping small boxes towards the side to write the date or ID numbers, we used to call them, and punch. And then we got Pivotal Tracker, Jira, Rally, yeah, the digital ones, right? Invest in a good story. This is something that I've picked up from and I've given the credit there as well. Invest is an acronym, guys. Yeah, invest is an acronym. Funny, you wanted to get an answer. Now this gets interesting, right? When we split the story, or yeah, let's not come to splitting the story, but let's only focus on invest criteria acronym, right? The story needs to be independent. There need not be any inherent dependency or on any other stories. There could be some stories where, only if the APIs are ready, I am able to work. That is also not a good example. There could be some stories which are waiting for the spikes to get over. In general, in principle, when you're writing stories, we are keeping this in mind, that is the story independent? Can I, as a developer, pick up this story in case one of the stories get deprioritized? Can I pull this story in and start working on it, right? That is the stories, other stories negotiable? Yeah, until is it going to be change? Can we rewrite the story? Is it possible to change? Can we rewrite the story? I'll come to you, Fanin. Just give me 1 second. Yeah. When we talk about invest, so sorry, when you talk about negotiation, uh, can we rescope it? Can we probably split this? And when we give some examples, probably it'll be more better, right? When we work with this, the must deliver value, right? Valuable. What is the must deliverable value to the end user? This is very important, right, guys? This is very important. Business value. Every story should focus. Not every story can. I don't think we'll be able to do that, but uh, we should attempt to have every story is having business value. Sometimes the stories will, and I'll tell you why I'm saying that, because sometimes there could be extreme cases where stories will not have business value, but they are needed, right? And we'll talk about them as well. Estimable. Estimable means, is the story, are you able to, it's too big that it goes beyond 13 points, beyond 21 points. If you are doing Fibonacci series, then, or is it too big or is it too small, right? Sometimes the stories are too small, right? Don't, it has to be balanced out, right? Are you able to finish within the given sprint? If your sprint duration is 2 weeks, are you able to finish in 2 weeks? Or is it too big that it needs more than 2 weeks? Or is it too small that maybe, I think small is still okay. Yeah, it will give you a good burn down. But the more you practice, this this will come with a lot of practice, guys. This will come with a uh, lot of practice. Yeah, other stories small, right? Small enough to be planned inside a sprint, right? Not too big. There is an overlap between all of these, right? You'll see an overlap between small and estimable, small and valuable, and testable, right? Are you uh, able to test this, right? Knowing that, is the story complete? How will you know that? Is there a way to know that this story is done, it's complete? Is there a proof that you can show that this is done? This is a story testable, right? Yeah, funny. Sorry, you had a question, funny.
Yeah. So I just wanted to understand when you say again, I get back to the same thing. When you say that if it needs to be independent, again, independent.
Yes.
Again, my same question before we start the session.
Correct.
Dev QA, Dev independent, QA independent. How's it?
Independent in terms of, from, if you take a larger feature, stories to be independent in terms of development and testing. You are able to develop the stories and test it. There is no dependability on something else which is technical, or something else which is unknown, or there is some awaiting information that we are waiting for, right? We are sure about this, that this is what I want to develop, and this is how I'm going to test it. If I have these two pieces of information, I can go ahead and create the stories, right? In
So-
that sense.
Okay.
Funny, just to add on,
Yeah.
it's not just independent, right? The story also should be valuable. So if we just say that the dev story is completed, can we deliver the value to the customer or the end user? Won't be. Right? So just not independent, the story should be valuable as well. So that's what all these 6 invest criteria should be considered together, or should be brought into consideration. That's when we can
Very
have an
good.
effective user story.
So yeah. So one more thing is that when we say estimable, how would you estimate developers' effort? I mean, can we combine the developers' effort and the QA's effort when we
Yes.
when we're doing the story side?
Yes, and the short answer is yes, but I'm just curious to know, Funny, how's your team composition? Is the team dev plus the testers, or they have a separate tester group and developers are sitting separately?
No, we have developers, QA, as well as DB. So all three
Okay.
are in the Scrum team.
Super. So get them all together in your refinement sessions, or when you create your sessions, bring
Right.
them all together if they are
Right.
sitting across or virtually or wherever,
Right.
and let them participate in their refinements. In the
Right.
refinements,
Uh-huh.
start creating the stories in a way where you also accommodate automation, testing. You also get your developers, and
Correct.
yeah,
So-
that becomes your task, and your story, you will see that it goes beyond 8 points, right? Probably.
Exactly.
Then you start splitting, then you start slicing these stories, right? You slice these stories in 2 ways. A 3-layer cake, right? There's a wonderful example somebody gave with a 3-layer cake, right? There's a cream, there's a base, then the base, bread, right? There's a cream, and then
the
topping.
vertical and the horizontal.
Yes, you know that, right? So
Yeah.
so start from the vertical slicing, right?
Correct.
Horizontal slicing is very obvious, becomes very obvious, but vertical slicing is what we need. That is what we need, and this will come when the conversations start, going very the team itself will figure out. The team itself will say that we'll have to stop here, and this is how we'll touch one example. Maybe that might answer your question, right? And now we'll go on to the next one, where we actually start writing a user story, and I like to just call this as the value that is delivered out of the story, right? There'll be always somebody who's going to use this. We are building we are developing a product, we are building a product, a software to be used by someone, right? Who is the user? Who's the end user, right? Identify them. It could be one person as a persona. It could be a group of people as a role, right? And as a user, right? So I want to. So as a user dash dash dash, I want to. What is it that she wants to do, and why? What is the business value that is coming? So that, right, the business value comes here. I've purposely removed all the examples. I've not kept them here so that we can start getting inputs. Can we have somebody to kind of, yeah, just one example, any one example, one feature. Just throw one feature that we'll talk about from now onwards, right?
The user, I would like to, construct a house wherein I have my kitchen, I have my bedroom, I have my hall,
Okay.
etc. Yeah.
So as and you are a father, you are a husband, or you are a spinster, or
You can consider as a father,
okay, super. So this is what we want, right? As a father, I want to
Like, can we prepare a flowchart for this?
build a house. We'll do that. Thank you for that. Who was that? I could not see that, so
No.
I can why you want to do this? So that what is the business value, Funny?
basically, I just wanted to showcase, saying that we find after the main epic is going to be a house, and the features are going to be
Fine. No. First, the business value. Why do you want
Okay.
to build out? So that you get social security, so that
Exactly. So this is giving. Sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah.
okay. Okay. Now the focus, and pardon me for my spellings, I've always been like that. This is what the entire conversation will be going towards now, right? Father is wanting to build a house that so that there is a social security provided, right? There's Maslow's hierarchy, and you all know all that, right? So let's take this example and move forward, right? Now this is a good example, I should say, right? When now we'll move forward, right? As we said, the value, right? What is the value that comes here? Now everyone remembers the card that Satish showed us, the pink card. The face of it is where the value will come. So Funny will pull up one of the cards and he'll start writing. As a father, I want to build a house so that I get social security, right? Now the reverse side of the card is when we'll say when we have built the house, that is the acceptance criteria or the confirmation. How do you know that this is delivered, right? How do you know that this is delivered?
Yep.
So there's this wonderful BTT kind of a method, right? A lot of anybody who's here on this call who've tested this format earlier or who's tried as a tester, excuse me, in one of these Cucumber tools or these things are very useful there. It goes in quite seamlessly. There are plugins available on Jira that can but so what is a precondition to build a house, right? And this, I think, let's somebody called about workflow, somebody told about splitting the stories, and we will do that, and then we'll build the acceptance criteria around this, right? Now this acceptance criteria is built on a lot of things, right? This is built on what the PO or the sponsorer of the product is asking for, right? Again, the developers will say, okay, I'll build a house. Now the developer is asking what kind of house you want. For me, a house is just ground floor and the roof, which is probably in a or just a roof, right? Or a terrace kind of house. That is when our PO is going to say that, no, I want a house which is 3-story, right? And then another smart guy will say, but do you need an elevator in the house? All right? Do you need a swimming pool in the house, right? These conversations have started coming in, right? People are getting creative, the conversations are happening, and you are trying to envision that what all things needs to be there, right? If you're asking a simple house also, there's a lot of things that will come in. based on just give me any one thing, we'll come on any one thing, and then we'll create the acceptance criteria for that, right? Then we'll write the acceptance criteria for that, right? So what we are doing is right now the problem statement seems to be too big. So we want to split them. So we'll start splitting them. Right? And there's a way to split that. But just before we come there, once we split that, then we'll add the acceptance criteria as well, right? Two more things with this electronic tools like Jira and the other tools. There's something called as summary, right? Summary or the title. Title is basically when you want to pull up a story, you just read the title of the story and you are able to identify that this story probably is the one that I'm looking out for, right? So let it be very crisp, and just reading the title, you are able to relate to the description, right? This is not a commercial property. This is a residential house, right? So residential house or something on those lines, right? The summary for the title for this example would be something like that, right? You can also add on, and while we are actually conversing or having this communication, some of the developers will come and say that we already have a reference for it. We already know that there's an architect with us who already has a ready plan for a 2-story building, right? If you capture that information, don't over capture it, but just capture in form of bullet points, and then you can say that dev consideration, right? So just typically your story will be the title, then the value that comes there, right? Acceptance criteria, and dev consideration is the development consideration where the developers do the talking, but when they pick up the story, they know that, okay, this is where you could put your ADO, wiki links or Confluence links, right? Something like that. But don't invest too much time. If you are putting in too much time to split a story, that means there's a lot of information which is missing or not there, or the SME, the subject matter expert who's going to provide the information is not there, or something is wrong there. Just the time box every time you split a story. It cannot go on and on, right? So this is where we want to do split the story, right? Different ways to split the story. Somebody told about workflow. Who's that? Can they come forward and talk? Some shares. What is it that they think? What is workflow? I did hear somebody talk about workflow, right? Cool. So here in our case, it could be I want to build a house, right? That is our ultimate objective. So, but when we start splitting the stories based on workflow, I want to build a house which is 2-story, which is 3 stories, right? Different, whatever your requirement is, right? I want to build a house that is duplex, or I want to build a house that has swimming pool, or whatever different options, right? Workflow is, as the word says, right? The identified different patterns or the different workflows, right? There is this crude operation, right? You create, right? And then you read and you, what is this CRUD? Anyone knows this? Anybody used, anyone?
I can, if no
Yeah,
one.
please. Yeah.
Create, read, update, delete.
Yeah, super. Yeah, so you want to create, this is a very, I don't know how to put this house example here, but this is very software specific example, right? So you can split stories based on this record, right? So the database, somebody talked about database teams also, right? So every operation can be a separate story, right? Creating could be one story. Reading, updating, deleting can be a separate story.
So if a story involves creating, replacing, deleting, updating of data set, I think the best way to divide is with respect to the operations involved.
Correct. Then we have happy, unhappy path, right? The happy flow, the unhappy flow, right? That if I'm into courier business, then I want my parcels to reach to my consumers on time, right? This is a happy flow, right? And a happy flow would be that I have to keep I have to find for an alternate way if the van doesn't come on time, right? So I have to figure out how do I then get the parcels couriered, right? That is an unhappy flow. So what would you do? You want to track the van, right? That is how we'll split, right? So as a courier owner or courier company owner, I want to track the movement of my van in case it doesn't come in the time range, right? It doesn't arrive in the time range. Then you start creating a lot of unhappy path also, right? So all these things are there to help you to think through that. How can I split the story? We have to split it vertically is what we agreed on. Horizontal kind of gets very obvious. Vertical slicing it takes some efforts, but we can still do that, right? Then we have business rules, right? Based on business rules, very specific to software, that I will not allow at the rates. I will not allow special characters, right? In the name field, right? No numerics in the name field based on business rules, right? Is this
Behavior is the rule.
yes? Yes, we can make that as add that as well, and then we can add based on real-time data and or dynamic data and dummy data, right? Sometimes there could be an option where we put it. Spikes on the other end, right? Spikes are stories which there are a lot of unknowns, right? And we said in one of the sessions, I said, right, in earlier slides, I said that we'll talk about this, right? What are spikes? Spikes are, we spoke about dependability, right? The story is dependent on spikes. So spikes are basically knowing the unknowns, right? We create, because I don't know what this technology is. This new technology that somebody was telling me, I don't know what this new technology is. So as a developer, I would want some time to be invested so that I can do the research and figure out the unknowns, and then I can develop that, right? So
The POC.
spike stories,
The POC.
yes, POCs, yes, POCs, absolutely, or at least get to know what or how can be done. If to do a POC also becomes too big, you slice that as well. You just say that, at a high level, I'll go through this and I'll know what it is. One more thing for spike, right? Time box it, right? Just don't say that. Yeah, just time box it, saying that the development team will work on a spike for 4 days and then record their findings. That's it. So that is one spike. Then otherwise it will keep on going, where there could be a question from PO saying that, you are investing my money on
Exactly. Perfect.
sure technology, which there's no value, right? Edge cases could be another example, right? And yeah, edge cases, there are a lot of sometimes a pop-up comes up that I want to close it, or I just leave the I select a bag and I keep it in my cart, right? Shopping cart, and then I log out, or I don't even log out. I just keep the browser as is, and I come there after a week. So when I go to my cart, it should refresh, and if it is not available, it should go away. But sometimes it is there. I have not made the payment. It really doesn't matter so much. It's not on that priority list. So it's an edge case, but you are able to split the story. All you're doing is just giving a lot of options for the PO so that she can kind of prioritize the story and focus on a quality product that needs to be delivered first, right? Right. How are we doing, guys? Anyone wants to add something? Yeah.
We
Can
can
you please
also do it based on user personas or target devices,
Absolutely.
geographies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Ajinkya. Absolutely. This is all these will get into different acceptance criteria, right? You are
Yeah,
splitting the
exactly.
stories based on acceptance criteria. That's very important and very, very nice. But keep on splitting it this way. Keep on thinking, how can we slice it, right? How can we slice that, right?
Slice it however we want, but it has to be valuable at the end.
And
and
don't forget,
vertical.
don't and Ajinkya, don't forget to invest in good stories, right?
Yeah, and small enough.
That
Yeah.
is a little risky statement to make, right? If you want to slice it anyway, then please get into that investing good stories model, and you will see a lot of magic happening, right? So let's practice this. We have a feature already that somebody wants to build a house, a father wants to build a house, right? Can we create few stories now? And I want everybody to participate here, right? I'll keep on entering. That's very easy to do. So I can do that.
Dipesh, you want the participants to share in the chat,
Yes.
or how we want to do that?
They can talk and then I can write,
Okay.
or whatever
yeah.
way is easy. I think.
I think
We
Dipesh,
have a
that would be better. I mean, we talk and then Dipesh could write the same thing.
Yes.
Okay, so should I give it a try?
Why not? Please,
Right?
sure.
please,
Okay.
please.
Yeah, so when you're saying like let's split or splitting that, I would say like uh, uh, with the same example that you had earlier as well, like we should have a good parking space so that we can park 2 cars and 2 bikes that are available.
You want a garage? Okay. There's another one that is coming. Very nice. Okay. Cool. Somebody wants a garage. What would you give the title to this story? And I am assuming that you are working on one of the electronic tools.
So I think as a father, I think that would be, as a father, I would need a garage
So that
I could, park, as Somnath said, 2 cars and 2 bikes. All right, Somnath?
Yes, thank you.
okay. When do you think that you will accept this? Silpa, you want to say this? What will be the acceptance criteria for this? If this is the value that is coming out, what will be the acceptance criteria? If you have to deliver this story, when do you think Somnath is going to accept this?
You want me to add the value of it? I didn't get you.
Yeah, when do you
Given
think
when
you
then?
will be? Yes.
Oh, given.
Yes.
Okay, given when then? Given there is a garage and car, I would say
So
car
given,
and
yeah. So we'll go back, right? That is what, right? The precondition, right? Given there's already, you have to set the stage, right? What is it? Given I have a plot, or given I have a house to which there's a garage, right? So given I have a plot, and when I get the required materials, or I have the layout of what is it, the architect, the actual architect map, right?
housing plan.
Then I build a garage, right? So let's give it an attempt. It will not come, probably it will not come in first instance, maybe, but that's fine. That's absolutely fine, right? We'll keep on splitting. We'll probably figure out that this itself is a big feature, right? The garage itself is as good big feature as house. That is what I was thinking, but let's give it a try. So given I have a,
Given I have a garage
so
in my house.
who is the I here? Anyone who's the I? Somnath, who's the I here? Not a
Father.
test, not asking. Yes.
Father.
Father, right? And how do you know that? How do you know that? Because this is where, this is
you
where
have defined the
value.
user.
Right, we've defined the user, right? So the title would be building
a garage.
a garage. Okay, that's would be the title of the story.
I think setting the things in garage instead of building a garage. Building a garage is
Dipesh, I would say, given when I have the square feet or total piece of the area of square feet which I have, when I think I'm just trying to, the land area, the area which is, bifurcated for garage based on the plan.
I just captured the first one. So 3,000 square feet, and then then we can. So now you start getting the clarity, right? Everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we starting to visualize and starting to be creative now? Yeah. Are we
Dipesh, here
getting more
the precondition is having cars, right? So uh, because the garage is getting built, so what rather
Yes.
we should be saying that given I have 2 cars and 2 bikes, or given
Very
I
good.
have cars and bikes, when the garage is built, then I should be able to park
Park.
all of them within that garage.
Let's try that. I'm open for. Let's be agile. Let's
But,
try that. Let's put it there. No problem.
but
There's
when
no
we-
harm. Let's
yeah,
let's.
but when we say that we want to just park our bikes and cars, we are not able to exactly estimate what exactly is how much of space that we need. So that's the main motto of building the garage, right? Total space
So
versus
so okay.
So funny that should come when building the garage. So that should be the part of conversation while creating or building that garage. When would you accept that the garage is as per your liking? That is what your acceptance criteria is going to tell you. So 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 for example, within the conversation,
only when
if
we
you
know we have 2 cars and 2 bikes, we will get to know how much of land we want to park.
correct.
and that should come from the conversation, because not everything the customer is going to or the user is going to tell the product owner. So the product owner needs to go into that discussion also, or if that has not come, then the development team would go into that discussion and bring it out.
Super.
All right.
I like this.
Point valid, Ajit.
Is this is one attempt, right? This is another attempt. Right? Is this making sense? Maybe we could, when we say that we should have a big garage, how big do we want? And that is where we could include this square feet details as well, right?
You can also add right? And
Of
you can
course.
add that 3,000
Multiple.
square feet inside. Yeah.
Yes. Given when and then, right?
Yeah.
We could do that very well. We've and wow, I was coming there and then wow, I like this. Interesting audience. And right, and then one more precondition or one more condition, and then you keep on adding here, right? So, and I have the right
Space or something. Yeah.
I have the right materials to build, right?
And it should.
But I'm still, yeah. Let's.
And it should have a walking space along with the car park.
Wow, one more, right? Yeah, somebody's learning from that spouse example, right? Wow. Oh, this is nice. 3. So given that I have, so here in this case, the assumption is that given you already have, so given I have a garage, when I have parked
2
all
cars and
of my
yeah,
4
yeah.
vehicles,
Hmm.
or maybe 2 cars and 4 bikes,
Yeah.
right?
And I have a walking space on. Yeah.
No, then it'll be then. Then I should also have.
Yeah.
Then I should also have. Then I should also have 4 feet of walking space. Enough walking space or what? Now this is the question that we want, right? That is when you get clarity that okay, 2 feet is enough, 4 feet is enough. What is it that then I should also have? Right. That also becomes like space to walk around comfortably, not freely. That is too much then. Right? Cool. How's this going, guys? Making sense?
I would even suggest to give the walking space in the right dimension. Again, becomes a generic in acceptance criteria. What you said is right? Maybe a 4 feet or 2 feet.
Yeah.
Something should be
That's true.
specified.
That's true.
Correct. Correct.
Correct.
That
Otherwise,
is
ambiguity.
right. Right.
That's how we
To
make
have
it as comfortable, right?
4 feet, right? But comfortable to you or
For me,
comfortable to
comfortable.
you? Yeah.
I can be 10 feet also.
Subjective.
Right?
Yes.
Yes.
So important to write this. This is where we capture the crux or the important details that we want to capture, right? And once we have delivered this, now assuming that this scenario is in real and you have delivered this, and Funny comes and or Somnath comes, he had requested, and we moved from our house example to garage example. But when Somnath comes and sees this, and he's able to park all his vehicles and able to walk freely, can he say that the story is delivered, right? He can say that, right? Unless instead of 4 square feet, it comes out to be 6 square feet, then he can say that, okay, you want to rework, right? We want to avoid a lot of rework. We want to be lean, right? Somebody spoke about lean, right? Earlier, we want to be lean. We want to avoid reworks. We want to avoid a lot of back and forth. And that is why it is good to spend time during refinement, creating such stories, right? And then you expect a quality output, right? Rather than building something first and then, at least not on these technical stuff. You can iterate, reiterate multiple times, no harm. But on these stuff, which could be taken care of if you would have spent probably 5 more minutes extra there and got an answer that what do you want? How much of the square feet do you want extra here? Please tell me, and then we can put it that way, right? It's also a lot of issues and problems, right? So, yeah, great. I think that pretty much that is what I had to add on to this conversation. I had a great time. Glad that we spoke, we met here. Anyone wants to add anything before I ask you all to share your feedback, right? And
Actually, where we write this in Jira, can you tell me, like, is it in description?
You can use it in description. I personally use it in description in Jira, even though Jira provides a separate
column for
acceptance. I don't personally like it because it breaks the flow, right? I like it this way because that is how it is, right? I like it this way because I can read the value which is delivered. I can relate the acceptance criteria. The value comes first, right? This is the value that I want to give. Then I see the acceptance criteria. So in Jira, the description box, which is a big box, square box, use the same one and start, just bold the acceptance criteria. So this way, you'll come there and just bold something like this, right? And then add that. That is how I would do.
They'll have an acceptance criteria section separately, right?
They do have. Yes.
Yeah.
For me, how it works. It goes up. It goes above the description in Jira, and that is what I don't. So I like to have it in one place in the description box. So you write the value first, followed by acceptance criteria, and followed by development consideration if there are any, right? So that is what it is. I would like, there are only 2 questions here in this feedback form. So if you all could give the feedback over this session, it will be helpful for us, for me, to get better, right? Relentless improvement can only be done once we are able to inspect, and that is only possible once we get genuine feedback, right? So please.
Dipesh, my question.
Funny.
I just wanted to understand, how do we, when we say estimate smaller stories, granular stories, and make sure that they have value, we make sure that stories are not more than extra small and small. We don't make them reach to medium also. Okay, that's the primary scope of our criteria. So that we make sure that we have value for every story that is being created. Now, when it comes to a development story and a QA story, QA effort, okay, in a story, okay,
correct,
which is independent. Now, if the effort is going to take, if the development takes, okay, fine, 2 days, and if the testing takes 3 days, so how is it? I mean, how is it going to be estimated?
Okay. One more question before that. Are you estimating in terms of hours, or are you estimating in terms of points, pure points, or Fibonacci series, or how are you doing this?
Based on Micron's Fibonacci series. It is based on points, completely points.
Fibonacci series, right? Story points. Yeah. So you do the 0, 1, 2, 3, 5, right?
Perfect.
Right. Okay. So to answer your question again, whenever the development team, including the QA is not a separate person, they are a part of development team. So we only keep on calling them as development team because they are solving a problem, right? They are solving a problem. End of the day, they are solving a problem. When they come out, they have to come out together as a team. When you estimate, right? When you give them a story and they are estimating it, if the development team is saying 2 story points and the QA says 5 story points, assuming that there's too much of gap, right? This is where the QA needs to explain to the dev team that why is she saying 5 story points, that there is an automation also which is included. Now imagine this is happening 3 times, 4 times. The 5th time, the developers will already be tuned that whenever I give my estimates, I have to scope in the QA efforts also, right? You will not only see this. Now, this is one first step that would happen. The problem will resolve on its own. But for that, everybody will have to consciously say that this is an effort which will be needed from another expertise, right? Only then I'll be able to close my story. Otherwise, I'll not be able to close the story. Otherwise, you'll get into another problem, right? Just before the sprint ends, that is when they'll start delivering everything to the quality guy, and the quality guy will probably split, instead of closing the story, will spill over the story, right? So that is another problem. But now the next part is, or give this challenge to the team, right? Give this challenge to your team. Tell them that we want to take care of a lot of other non-functional requirements, right? We want to take care of other documentation. I want to take care of security. I want to take care of scalability. I want to take care of load test. I want to take care of a lot of other things in the same story. Now they'll say this is not my problem. Right now, what is happening is this is not my problem, and they're not one team. They're saying that okay, that's a quality team and the development team, right? Now they say that this kind of problems, right? This kind of expectations to be delivered in the same story. They'll say probably this is 21 or 13-pointer story. Okay, no problem. Allow that for 1 or 2 sprints. Say this is 13-pointer story, but at the end of the day, are we able to deliver this? Then they'll say, okay, now I'll start splitting it. Now I'll start slicing vertically. Instead of this, I will take care of all these NFRs. I'll take care of these qualities also. But instead of, and that is where I had this example to show that if I had to deliver.
So when we say the normal testing versus development happens and normal testing happens, that's a user story. What do we say about as you rightly said, what do we say about the load testing, the performance testing, the different kinds of other testings? It is practically not possible to have these story points as 5 or 6 or 7, where they play the whole story in the 2-week sprint.
I agree. So there'll be another story, but when you give that story, the load test story also will have the business value assigned to it. And in one of the stories where there's highest business value, you will tag all the other NFRs, right? You will tag all the other hygiene related activities that you do, right? Documenting, updating the API specs, updating the API spec could be one story where you will add meeting the SLAs, right? Or generating the SLAs and recording the SLAs, right? A lot of such things which are hygiene related. But what happens, they'll start getting the visibility. Once the visibility is there, they'll also start delivering the quality. And nobody's not going to allow you not to take story point for that, because there's a lot of probably indirect value, but there's a value that comes in, right? So try that and stay in touch. Funny, we'll solve this. Yeah, together we can do a lot of things.
I think I really need. I also actually got in touch with Satish also on the same thing. I think Satish remembers I had put these points to him on the WhatsApp chat. So yeah. So cool. I need you guys guidance and assistance, because
Anytime.
it's actually getting difficult for me in terms of dev and QA, because QA is, in our company, QA is become a different vertical altogether. So that's the problem where QA wants to showcase their own effort. Say that we did this, we did this. I say, guys, even if you are a different vertical, it's a team. It's a team effort.
Yeah.
But they're not coming.
Yeah. So Google this Tuckman's model. Okay.
Okay.
Different stages of team formation, right? So Tuckman, TUCKMAN, Tuckman's model, team formation, team stages, right? And just read about this. You'll know where the problem is, right?
Okay.
Great.
Good.
Okay,
Good.
I think we are short of time, and I hope everyone is given this feedback from. This was one example that I wanted to do, but I'm really glad we got our garage example.
One last question. Sorry.
Yeah.
When could we have a Jira basic overview? If we could have that, that would be great. Is that possible?
Yes, and we have a lot of people who are really champions. And Jira Basic Overview, the best place to go is on the Atlassian University. They have very good videos, very crisp ones.
I'm actually trying to say that because my team, or rather, the teams spread across my company, are actually using tasks and subtasks as if it is something like breakfast or a munching thing. For everything and anything, they just create subtasks and tasks, and they try to achieve their goal. I mean, end of the day, when I try to see the metrics, it is like haywire.
Okay. I'll tell you, give them this compliment that they are able to create a lot of tasks and subtasks. That means that they are showing a lot of transparency. So I will take it in a very good way. But there are a lot of teams who would only write 3 subtasks, right? Analysis, coding, testing, and that's it. I don't know what. But if there are a lot of subtasks, that means they are actually saying that I'm testing it in P-prod environment. I'm testing it in test environment, in demo environment. They're writing that, right? So they are bringing in this transparency, right? So good part that there is. So don't stop that. It's a good thing that they are adding task and subtask.
I think that they connect a normal story to a sub story to another sub story. They clone it. They link it. I'm not able to understand. A simple story which needs to be delivered has so much of complication, so much of internal mapping in terms of cloning it, linking it in terms of everything. And once you open that clone or linking, you again see another 3-4 links. You again see another 3-4 links. So
links, They are probably doing it, and this is my wild guess, they are probably doing it to showcase the dependability, or rather trying to say that why I could not deliver it in this sprint, right? Why am I spilling over? Why am I spilling over?
The biggest problem is, Dipesh, at the end of the day, when Scrum Master tries to pull out the metrics, it's haywire. Trust me. I mean, I can show it to you right now. If I can share my screen with you guys, it's haywire. Story column has sub stories and subtasks and everything. The main story is there in some other board. So it's
tools are actually maybe I don't know if you guys are co-located or how we all are placed, but and if everyone allows, then maybe run couple of sprints without any tools, right? Use the only company that I know that benefited was 3M. 3M is a company who would sell a lot of post-its and all these. So try to see that if we do it without these tools, right? Tell them that there's no access to tools. Now, are you able to perform what you were supposed to deliver, the commitments, and record it in a piece of paper and on the card and see how that works. Try something different, then maybe if that helps. But there's more to what we are discussing. I sense that there's a lot of question and answer that we need to kind of have and get to the crux of. Somebody was saying something?
I mean, I just want to add one point. It is just that basically, you can't write the entire stuff of work into the user story. That is actually the problem. Like, your people
Yeah.
are trying to write the entire coding and all this kind of stuff
Exactly. Yeah.
entirely into the user story, trying to say that this much of work I'm doing. That is actually
Yeah.
not needed. It is basically like, write the simplest form. It is user story is the
Exactly.
simplest form.
And
Yes.
one more thing, one more thing, Dipesh.
Yeah.
If there's a functionality that can be broken, okay, it has to be from start to end.
Correct.
That's where the catch is. Where we need to, as Scrum Masters or product owners, we need to allow them, say that, okay, fine, this is what we cannot break the functionality into smaller chunks. We need to have the end-to-end flow when the story starts and then gets completed. So either it takes the whole sprint or it gets carried forward.
Then are we following the invest principle? Anyone?
Exactly. We follow the invest principle wherein the story can't be broken into smaller pieces because the product owner wants the functionality to be delivered from start to scratch without breaking it.
So here is this example, right? As a product owner, she wants this form to come, right?
Right.
What we can negotiate, right? One of the invest acronym was negotiations, right? What we can negotiate is we can tell her that, okay, I will, or my team will not be able to deliver the entire form in one iteration, one sprint. However, what value we can give you is we will deliver this component first, right? Only this component, which will include UI, UX, your testing, your front end, back end, your database as well, right? Because when so you are entering the email ID, password, confirm password, and you save or submit button. These are the only components visible, right? And when you submit this, your PO is actually able to submit and save it and go to the database and check whether the records are there. That much of an slicing you have done, right? Fine, do that. Second, you only focus on integrating the social media plugins, right? The logins that they provide, right? Login by Google or login by Apple or the third one, or probably this is again, you keep on changing the priorities. The third story could be to add the basic details. Now, over a period of time, when you are done with 3 or 4 sprints, the entire form is ready and delivered. But every sprint, there is some value that is incrementally added to the. And this is a very easy example to show in your context. I don't know how we can put that, but I'm sure we can put that. That much I'm sure we could do that. Yeah.
All right, Dipesh. I think I'll touch base with you guys offline, so
Yes,
that
yes.
I can have more clarity, because I don't want to bother the whole audience out here because of my questions.
This was nice. And thank you all. Thank you all. I hope you'll have given the feedback. Yeah. Somebody's raised. Yeah, Silpa.
I have a question regarding the user story. So for example, we have planned something for the sprint, good enough for the sprint, and the team has got some more scope, finished all the user stories. They can pull from the backlog also, right?
Yeah.
So can we differentiate between the user story that is created ad hoc in between the sprint and the one which we are pulling from the backlog once we have done the planned items?
Yeah. So to answer that question, right, there are these labels that are available on fancy tools, right? Jira, Portal.
Yeah.
How we use it, or how do I use it? Every time a story has gone through this refinement, it is estimated, it has all the required details, it is independent, it is negotiated, well written acceptance criteria, and PO has agreed to that. That is when I'll add a label called ready for dev, right? Or ready for development.
Okay.
Anytime I have to play around with stories that are in changing priorities, we'll say, okay, this one we cannot work on, whatever the blocker is, there is some impediments we cannot work. Go and refer to all the stories which are in ready for dev. Now you can filter all the stories which are ready for dev, show it to your PO. Based on this, which one do you want to prioritize first, right? More or less, everyone knows that which stories will come next. We get that feeling, but get that through your PO, right? But
Yeah.
what you are helping as a Scrum Master, you are helping them to prioritize, right? As one of Scrum guides, right? Helping them to prioritize. This way you can,
Yeah.
right? Cool.
Yeah. My question is not answered completely. Sorry.
Okay.
If we want
yeah,
to take offline, then I'm fine.
yeah,
And
we could, or anyone else wants to add on.
I think
this.
Dipesh, what you said is about the swim lanes and the backlog, the sprint backlog and the product backlog. So basically, when you said, absolutely rightly said, that okay, fine, we could take this into a different stage where, you know, fortunately, unfortunately, some certain stories get into the sprint backlog, considering the fact that okay, fine, these are priorities. But when the development team starts working on them, they find some hiccups. So that's when I think you rightly said that, the swim lane that, ready for dev or whatever. I mean, I forgot to, I forgot
whatever
to,
label.
yeah.
What is it? Ready for development or
So I think that from the sprint backlog to that swim lane, it could be posted, where the clarity could come, and then the story can move forward into in progress, and then code review, and then testing, and then done.
Okay. My question was the difference between creating a new user story in between the sprint,
Okay.
and we are done with all the user stories for the sprint, and still we have 1 or 2 days available, and then we are pulling up the one which are ready in development, that is from the backlog, or the one which we are planning for the next sprint. So these two are different. So how do we differentiate and represent to the leadership team?
So basically, you need to understand one thing is that if the team is done with their existing user stories, they definitely welcome pull in new user stories. First thing is that I think you understand that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And the second thing, what you said is that creating new user stories for the team for the existing sprint.
Yeah, for the current sprint, there was some ad hoc request from the customer, urgent request, and or else the team has forgot to document one of the user stories, and they are doing in between.
Or a production issue.
Yeah, for example, not a production issue. Production issue is fine, but the team has forgotten, or the customer is coming and requesting for an ad hoc work in between the sprint. So how do we differentiate between the one which we are adding in between this sprint and the one which we are pulling from the backlog?
So the goal,
I'll tell you, I got
the goal of the sprint. The goal of the sprint.
That is important.
Okay. First thing is that. Second thing is that the MVP, the minimum viable product that we deliver over the sprint or the iteration is the key element where the product owner defines. Now the product owner comes back, the business comes back and says, okay, fine, we need to add this, kind of a thing, saying that, okay, this particular feature is missed out and we need to add this urgently. I think, yes, we need to accommodate it based on what the bandwidth, the acceptability, and then what are we trying to deliver? Is that important? Is that feature important? Is that task important for the goal that we are trying to achieve for that iteration?
No, that is not a question. The question is how to identify that.
Yeah,
Yes.
So go to, if you're using Jira, Silpa, go to Jira. Sprint report is your what you're looking for. At the end of Jira ID, there's an asterisk sign that will come. There's a star sign or the asterisk sign that will come. These are all the stories that were added after the sprint start date.
Yeah.
Right. In between. So you have to find for that asterisk sign, or there would be a JQL way also, that anything added after the start date. You can pull up queries.
And
I'm
asking at the leadership level. If they take about the metrics, right? They wanted to know how many have been added as an ad hoc request in between the sprint, and how many have been. Yeah, this was my question.
Yeah, just to sorry, just to add a thing, like you can use burn-up chart. The burn-up chart will show like what is the extra thing that are added.
The burn-up chart will not exactly give you the exact details, but The sprint report will give you the exact details as how many story points have been added, modified, or what stories have been added or minus. The sprint report will give. I think Dipesh is right.
Good. I think a lot of discussion around
and how about if we are looking at in a quarterly level or release level in a product increment? I have to represent how many have been added as an ad hoc request and how many have been pulling up from the backlog is something that the team is performing really well, and adding in between the sprint is not considered as a good practice. So I want to differentiate between in a product increment meeting. I want to represent my team has pulled these many user stories into the from the product backlog, and the number of ad hoc user stories has been reduced. So how would I represent that? So again, we need to go.
Yeah,
okay.
Jira query language is an answer at a release level, because there are multiple sprints that will take into account. So we can just explore that.
And the best part of Shilpa is that once you start the sprint, you will actually come to know what exactly was there in the sprint backlog. Okay, and then what was added in between. So that report, the sprint report itself, will give you, the exact situation as to how many stories were accepted, how many stories have been added.
But she'll have to do it every sprint. So Shilpa, what happens is the sprint report, you will get it for one sprint only, right? So you will get it per sprint. Now, if you are thinking of giving a report at a quarter end, then you yourself have to add that values or report it manually each sprint to see how much was the scope change and then report it. Because even if you start adding JQL for a whole release, for example, you won't you would want to give some date range, right, to see when it was added. But again, for every sprint there would be different date range, so you cannot use it in JQL either. So you'll have to really do it manually.
You can do you can add a label ad hoc whenever you are having any story which is getting added. So you can use a label as ad hoc, okay, and then you can use it in jQuery with date, and ad hoc you will get all the list of stories which were added without planned.
So Ahmed, you are saying that every time the new story is added, you add a label called as ad hoc.
Yeah, new story means the out of planning, after the iteration planning is started. So if any story is coming in, or even during iteration planning, if we are getting some new story which was not planned during PA planning, or even PO is coming and telling I urgently want this, means during iteration planning they were telling it, but still this was not known to the team before iteration planning, then we can add some labels.
Very good.
And then these labels can be used for filtering out to know the count of how many stories were added, like that.
Yeah, got it. Good.
Cool. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Sorry for overshooting, but we had a lot of discussion apart from user stories. But I wish you all the very best and keep using user story. It's a very powerful tool, right? See you around. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you, Dipesh.
Thank you.
Session. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And thanks,
Thanks,
Adi.
Dipesh.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye. Cheers.
Thank you guys.